my microphone.
Let's go.
Again,
You hope what?
my microphone doesn't fall over.
Mine did once last week, but I caught it and kind of held it while I was talking and fixing.
Red, you're doing all right. Yeah, just a little bit. Make sure y'all hear me. Hey, Jack, can you just give me a little bit of zest into the
Yep,
microphone?
I can hear you. Skeep-a-doop-ba-ba-da-da-do. Hey, yo.
Perfect.
It's weird, though, when I start talking, or maybe that was you turning it down, the music, cut out earlier.
Oh, yeah, probably. Let's see here. Just gotta go onto the old YouTubes now and push out my link.
You're going to be really happy. Guess what Brady just did?
Touchdown to Mike Evans.
2-yard touchdown to Mike Evans.
Heck yeah, brother.
There's a tweet from Field Yates just said, Brady's thrown 5 times to Evans in the red zone this season. The results, 2-yard touchdown, 6-yard touchdown, 1-yard touchdown, 1-yard touchdown, 2-yard touchdown. Seems to work.
Legit.
Apparently I should have started Brady tonight.
Post your link on Twitter.
Well, just let me know if my audio starts being weird or delayed.
Alright. Good evening, Pod Squad. On this episode of the Victorious POD, Jack rejoins the podcast, which is a good thing because Walters doesn't know how to read show notes. Week 5 in the NFL is about to kick off, and football fans are wondering if certain teams will be playing football this weekend. Walters and Jack will also highlight the home team's first win and all of the fantasy news and notes that you need to know about. Victorious POD starts right now. You know what? Maybe if I actually took the mute buttons off my stuff, people would actually be able to hear me.
Okay.
So
I was trying to just riff and dance a little bit.
Yeah, that was perfect. Actually, I'm just gonna restart the whole intro again. Hey, what up, Pod Squad? It's Thursday night. It's Thursday, October 8th, 2020. We've got Thursday night football going on right now. I believe the Bucks and the Bears are playing, and the Bucks are up 10-rip right now. Is that correct, Jack? That is correct.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Quick little touchdown to Mike Evans.
Whoop, whoop. Fancy for this guy. All right, so we are the Victorious POD, and I'm actually going to keep bringing this music down just a little bit more. Okay, so we are the Victorious POD, and what we are is we are a podcast and a stream for the Victorious Secret Fantasy Football League, but we also dedicate over half of our podcast to general fantasy football players like yourself, so we thank you so much for joining us. I am Ryan Walters. The guy next to me is Jack Vickers. Jack, say hi to all the folks out there in YouTube land.
Hello, folks in all of the YouTubes.
We would like to thank you very much for checking us out. You can find us here on YouTube. You can also find us on Anchor at anchor.fm/thevictoriouspod. From there, they distribute our podcast out to Spotify and all those other great podcast platforms if you do not want to watch us on the video. I would like to say thank you to Levi Oki, who created our wonderful artwork, which we completely defaced last week with Josh's picture. Jack, were you upset about that?
It threw me off a little bit. I mean, Josh is more attractive looking than me, so it's probably for the best.
I'm not going to get in between that argument. I think you both are very handsome men and way more better looking than I am. So I'm just not going to start. I'd also like to thank Garlic Johnson. He has helped us out lots. He has inspired us. He has helped us. Thank you, Garlic. If you guys would like to contribute, please watch us live. Interact with us live. We had a lot of interaction last week from Ryan Herman and Alex. It was great. Jack, you stepped in a little bit. We had our artist Levi Oki. He was watching us up a little bit. That was awesome. If you want to interact with us, there are multiple ways. Like I said, you can interact with us live on the chat. You can send us an email at victoriouspod@gmail.com. You can also send us a message on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at victoriouspod. And like I said before, you can find us on Anchor at anchor.fm/thevictoriouspod. Leave us a voicemail there, and we will play it back on the episode following. Jack, what's going on, man? Anything new? I know that you had your bachelor party. How did your bachelor party go?
I did. When you were talking about those YouTube comments, I may or may not have been a little, not all the way there, but it was good. It was a great time. I was really pumped with the people that were able to make out. I know it was kind of a tough thing with all this stuff going on in the world, but lots of fun. Beautiful cabin we stayed in that was huge, and lots and lots of games. So I'm all about that.
Heck yeah, man. Nothing wrong with the nice weekend of partying. I know it was your bachelor party, and I really hope that you had a great and safe time. I'd also like to announce right now that it is not only your birthday, Jack, so happy birthday, Jack, but a non-listener of our podcast, member of our league, Jay Frank. Happy birthday. Happy
birthday, boys.
Please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. I could use
or just listen, for 5 minutes.
Or listen, yeah. Or maybe participate. Your fantasy season has not been going very well. Speaking of subs, we do have 37 subscribers, so we are up 2 from last week. Whoop, whoop. We are very
unbelievable.
Very thankful, and we are very appreciative of you following our podcast. Please, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, please send it out to friends, family. We need all the subs we can get. We are going to 100 subs so that we can get that custom URL on YouTube. www.youtube.com/thevictoriouspod would be lit. I would love to get it. Last episode we had better timing. We're going to see if we can keep that up. This intro's gone pretty long, so we're actually going to scooch right into the fan interaction zone. Like I stated before, you can send us an email, you can leave us a voicemail, You can follow us and leave us a comment on Twitter. Text or submit your ideas to the podcast. Like if you have a game idea, if you have a water bet, if you have a purchaser pass, or maybe even a suggestion for swimming upstream, please send it in to us and we will try and feature this on the show. We do have a voicemail again this week for purchaser pass. That is going to be coming up. Jack, I loved your YouTube comment from last week when you said that you died seeing me dance at the end of the episode. That was a lot of fun. I don't know why I did it. I just decided to do it on a whim. A lot of fun. We did not have any emails or Twitter messages this week, so that means we are going to get rolling in to Bits or Bites, and that means you get to talk for a little bit, and I get to eat. Speaking of eating, Jack, do you have any snacks for us this week?
I do. We went out to dinner, so I'm kind of running into the food coma right now, so I need a little boost myself here. So I got some Red Bull going. And Christine's mom actually swung by for my birthday today and just dropped off like a box of candy. So I got a little dark chocolate. Apparently it's good for the heart, and I'm getting older now. So
yummy.
That's what I'm
How
rolling
old
with.
are you now? Do you want to give that out in YouTube land? Do you want to, or do you prefer not to say anything?
I am 12.
Well, perfect. All right. My lovely wife.
I'm 27.
Okay, 27. I love it. My lovely wife came through for me again. She made me these. I don't know if you can see them. They are like, so I went and bought cinnamon rolls, the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, and she topped them with apple pie filling. And so I've got like this nice little apple cinnamon.
Nicole, the MVP.
Treat. Yeah, it's delicious. I love when she bakes. It's delicious.
You're just gonna be eating the whole time, and I'll have to just throw to myself.
Yeah, if you can just talk for yourself for the next hour, that would be perfect. To wash it down, I've got myself. It's a brand new beer I've never drank before. It's called. It's from Insight Brewing. It's called Trollway, and it's a citrus India Pale Ale. Let's see if I can get that there. I don't normally drink pale ales. I'm a huge stout guy, but citrus India pale ales are delicious, so I will be. Also to note, there is an alcohol content of 7.0, so if I start slurring my words, that's going to be a problem.
Oh, no.
All right, we are going to be moving on. So, Jack, what is happening in the NFL this week? Why don't you start it off for us, bud?
Yeah, so don't like to have to keep talking about this week to week, but COVID is still a thing. The Titans are managing to still ruin football. So we're up to, I believe, 13 players and like 10 personnel members from the Titans team alone that have it. So they're running on like half their entire team at this point. So I am still waiting to see if the game's going to happen or not. It's looking a little bit more nerve-wracking. I know Cam Newton also go down with it last week, but Stephon Gilmore, kind of the quarterback of the defense, also did it. There were a few pictures of him post-game hugging Pat Mahomes, so everybody's in fear for the reigning Super Bowl champ. So just kind of keep watching and waiting and holding our breath. Hopefully COVID doesn't get too worse. Hopefully they can keep it under control. It's going to get interesting. You and I were talking kind of how they're going to work it or how we're making – we had 2 Monday night games last week. We're going to have more primetime games because of it. I mean, I'm in favor of that, but just hope we keep the season going at this point. So that's one good thing.
There was a guy who also came up on the from the Las Vegas Raiders who was put on the COVID-19 list. This is when this broke. It was also when I believe it was on Monday, maybe Tuesday. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. It was right around the same time that the Fantasy Life update came out that more Titans players had tested positive. And so when you see this come out, it's like, holy crap. I mean, not that this guy from the Vegas Raiders has tested positive, but the fact that he's on the COVID-19 list and now you're seeing more teams pop up on these COVID-19 reserve lists, it just starts to make you think, like, are we going to be able to play the NFL this season? And with the Bills and the Tennessee game, thank you, the Titans and Bills game this weekend, if it's going to be postponed or not, nobody knows yet, and hopefully they'll figure it out soon, because I know that is just a nightmare for my lineup since I have Josh Allen and I need him to play. So there's that. What else is going on in the NFL?
another unfortunate one we're going to get into a little bit later, but the season of injuries is still upon us.
Yep.
Missing training camp and just people not having the full time to warm up has definitely hurt. There's something I came across. I saw, I think Field Yates tweeted it the other day, but speaking of one injury, not fantasy relevant, but Chase Young, the number 2 pick for the Washington football team, got a groin injury and he's going to be out for a few weeks. Field Young tweeted out how the trend of number 2 draft picks has just been a curse lately, kind of like the Madden curse. So the last 6 years, I'm going to run through quick where they're all at currently. But
Okay.
2015's number 2 pick, Marcus Mariota, currently on IR. 2016, Carson Wentz is leading the league in interceptions. 2017, Mitch Trubisky got benched a couple of weeks ago for Nick Foles. 2018, Saquon tore his ACL. 2019, Nick Bosa tore his ACL. 2020, Chase Young, groin injury, out for several weeks. So don't get drafted second.
Okay.
And then lastly, I think one of the other big things that I'm kind of watching going in is just there's several teams that are kind of the surprise 3 and 4 win teams. So they've either got 3 wins or 4 wins that I don't think a lot of us expected coming into the year to be some of the powerhouses so far. So looking at teams like the Bears, the Titans, the Colts, and the Browns, kind of just wondering if they'll keep it going, if everybody's preseason predictions for division winners is going to be wrong, or who's going to stay and who's going to fall off. So watching for them, and then
Go ahead. Finish.
shouting out my game of the week to watch and my game of the week to not watch. Game of the week to watch, I'm looking forward to the Bengals and Ravens. The Ravens have a great defense, and they've obviously got the MVP, but Burrow finally got his first win last week and has looked great. So I think that'll be real exciting. And then I am intently trying not to watch the Jaguars and the Texans with a combined 1-7 record. Waiting on Deshaun Watson to show us something this year, but surprisingly, Gardner Minshew actually has more yards and touchdowns than him, and James Robinson has more yards and touchdowns than David Johnson. So would not have expected that, but I don't want any part of that game either way.
Right on. We're circling back real quick to your surprise. I'm going to guess that the Bears, since they are doing I wouldn't say the flip-flop at quarterback, but it is week 5, and they have already moved on to Nick Foles, their backup quarterback. I personally cannot see them keeping up on the pace that they have been at. I think darker times are ahead for the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure if you agree or not. But that is just my thoughts on the matter.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I'm not a fan of them.
Right on. All right, we're going to be moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota picked up their first victory. Hallelujah. 31-23 over Houston. What did you see out of the offense? Do you think Cook looked great? Do you think Justin Jefferson looked great? I mean, why don't you give us a quick breakdown of what you think about the offense?
Yeah, a few things I noticed. I mean, Dalvin Cook has just not let his foot up off the gas at all. He had another dominant game with, I think, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you can do that with your running back. Most games, you're going to be able to control game flow and just kind of be hard seat. Cousins took care of the ball really well. Didn't turn it over at all. I think he had 260 yards and 1 touchdown. So not a lot of scoring, but he got us in position for Cook to do the dirty work. So it was a good game out of Cousins as a bounce back. Back-to-back weeks of Justin Jefferson with 100+ yards. I think he did it on 4 catches. So awesome to see him kind of step up as the clear number 2. So waiting to see, like, can he continue this? Is he going to be for real? Like, is he going to potentially have more opportunities just because Thielen's going to draw coverage away? Curious to see if he's going to actually pan out to be, a real Diggs replacement. Like, can he be as good as him or better or worse? I mean,
can I step in real quick?
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Repeat or take a seat. Justin Jefferson, 100 receiving yards this game.
For this game?
Correct.
I mean, 100 yards is really, really tough to do. So it's awesome he's done it twice. I expect him to be involved. And I know the Seahawks defense is bad and their offense is really, really good. So we'll probably have to throw a lot, but I think I'll probably take a seat. I think he's going to be close with probably 70 or 80 yards and plenty of opportunities, but that's tough to guess on.
The biggest thing to me is going to be the offensive line. Can the offensive line give Kirk the time to be able to throw that ball, to throw open Justin Jefferson? Because Justin Jefferson, like you said, he seems to be taking on that Diggs role, which is your deep, streaking down the field type of player. And to be able to do that, Kirk Cousins needs to have time in the pocket to be able to throw that. And yes, last week was a major improvement to be able to do that. Actually, he's been doing it over the last 2 weeks, getting that ball to Justin Jefferson. But from what I've seen over the last not even this season or last season, but the last 3 seasons, our offensive line play has not been good, and I just don't think that we can rely on it. So that is my major concern with Justin Jefferson getting the yards that we need, so that Adam Thielen can remain open and hopefully get Irv Smith involved into the passing game as well. Let's talk a little bit about the Texans. They're now 0-4, and B.O.B., that is Bill O'Brien, he got fired. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I think it's a long time coming. I don't think he should have been in the league. I think everybody saw the last few general manager decisions he's made. I mean, you trade DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the top receiver in the league, just on pure talent alone, for nothing against David Johnson, but he did not look great last year. And you're going to trade a young, proven talent for somebody who's on the older end of the running back. So I thought it was interesting, though. It came out a little bit earlier this week that part of the reason why I guess he was fired, there was a huge altercation or interaction with him and JJ Watt, like screaming at each other and fighting on the practice field. And that's come after the last couple of weeks, I guess, where other personnel in like the front office and stuff have gotten into fighting with him lately as well. So I thought it was kind of cool. Like the whole JJ Watt fight led to a whole player revolution and rebellion saying, we want this guy out of here. So arguably the most important sack of JJ Watt's career, getting rid of Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, it's tough. Some of his moves that he's made, like I really am questioning him getting rid of. Who's that stud defensive player that went to Seattle? Is he in Seattle?
Jadeveon Clowney.
Is he in Seattle now?
He was, and now he's on Tennessee.
Okay, now he's with Tennessee. All right, and then trading DeAndre Hopkins. I think that probably was your final nail in the coffin. I mean, when he traded him, it made me wonder, like, if there is some dirt on DeAndre, like why are you getting rid of the most dynamic wide receiver in the NFL? And like you're getting a running back, in my opinion, that is in the twilight of his career. I mean, maybe not in the twilight, but he is not he is not worthy of what DeAndre Hopkins brings on the field. He's a running back that has injury issues, and he has just not performed at the level that he did in his first few years at Arizona. So I think that move right there was probably one of the last nails in his coffin. Who is to know? If you're ready to move on, I'm ready to move on to Sunday Night Football. All right, so we got the Seahawks 7:20 Sunday night 7:20. We have the Seahawks in Seattle. Jack, what do you see in this game?
I see that it's going to hurt a lot. It's not going to be pretty. We're talking about potentially the early MVP favorite, whether you prefer him or Rodgers or even Josh Allen right now. But Russell Wilson is cooking, and he's doing it real well. So it's kind of just like a situation where you're like unstoppable force meets a very movable object in the Vikings defense. I think Russell's probably going to be able to do whatever he wants on the field, unfortunately.
Yep.
Game, I think our only hope is for us to control the clock, so like run the ball as much as we can, get the ball into Cook's hands, get Cousins going early, like some little dink passes and easy things, because you can see every week that he started off slow, it's gotten worse and worse. If it's going right away, he's in rhythm, he's better. So get the ball into Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Irv Smith's hands, hope one of them breaks something. Otherwise, though, I'm pretty worried. I don't think I see us upsetting Seattle this week. I mean, they're 4-0 for a reason. It sucks that we have to play them coming off of our first win. So, like, being in this position is not pretty because you don't want to fall to 1-4, but you're probably not supposed to win this game. So, yeah, I'm probably going to predict that we're going to lose by multiple scores here. So I'm thinking like 34-20. The only way that doesn't happen is if our defense finally gets some pressure on a quarterback.
Yep, I think it's going to require our defense to step up big time, and I believe our offensive line is going to have to hold up like they did last week to be able to give Kirk Cousins the time to be able to get the ball out and to pave the way for Dalvin Cook to do what Dalvin Cook does, and that is run over people. That second touchdown run that Dalvin Cook had last week was sick. I can't believe he had his left hand hold him up, and then he stiff armed a guy going into the end zone. That dude is a beast.
Yep.
I love me some Dalvin Cook. All right, moving on. We've got the Tampa Bay Bucks. They played the Los Angeles Chargers. They beat them 38-31. The GOAT, Tom Brady, threw 5 touchdowns to 5 different targets, Jack. Tell me about it. What did you see? What'd you like?
It was so beautiful. The GOAT, huge comeback once again. I think it's the 46th time I read that Brady's had a winning drive in the regular season. So fourth quarter overtime, just unbelievable. Like he still looks great. This is like vintage Tom Brady, where people were talking, is he going to fall off a cliff every year, being older and older? Is he not going to figure out with the offense? I know he had a bad week one, but like this is what Tampa Bay brought him in for. So being down, I think by 17 points, and then coming back and throwing for 369 yards and 5 touchdowns. Every single one of them was to a different receiver, and that was with Chris Godwin out. OJ Howard was lost. Fournette wasn't playing. They threw to Keyshawn Vaughn, their like third or fourth string running back. Like he's just made a career out of being able to spread it to different guys and making the passes to no-name receivers look great. So awesome to see there. On the other side of the ball, Herbert still looks really, really good. I think he was 10 yards away from having his first 3 career starts be 300 plus yards. And I mean, he's not turning the ball over. He's getting like deep pass connections. He's looking really, really solid. So with him keeping this up, Burrow obviously looking great. I think this quarterback class could end up being one of the ones that you talk about. Like I know the running back class with McCaffrey and Cook and Mixon and all them is always the example, but this could be one of those quarterback classes that like 5-10 years from now, you've still got 3-4 guys that are like key franchise players. So exciting to see Herbert doing really, really well. And then speaking of the Tampa Bay offense again, Ronald Jones gets 111 yards with Fournette out. I think he ran for like 5.6 yards a carry. So when he gets the chances, he's doing great. But obviously Fournette did well too. It's never a bad thing to have 2 solid running backs on your team that's also a great passing offense. But just kind of still worried to see who's the guy week in and week out there.
Right on. We are going to be moving on to, as of right now, Tampa Bay is playing Chicago, like we stated earlier. The Bears have the ball. It is the second quarter. There's 7 minutes left in it, and the Bucks are leading 13-rip. Touchdown reception to Mike Evans from Tom Brady. Jack, real quick, just a few notes that you wanted to think about going into the game, then we're going to move on.
Yeah, really quick, the one cool thing I found was this is apparently the first time ever that 2 quarterbacks who played each other in a Super Bowl, back when Foles was with the Eagles versus Brady's Patriots. It's the first time that 2 guys that played in a Super Bowl are going to be facing off again, but both of them playing for new teams. So kind of an interesting rematch, which you don't ever get to see. This is the first time for it. Coming in, I was a little bit worried because I know Evans was banged up. He is playing right now, which is good, but Scotty Miller is also banged up with a hip and playing. Chris Godwin's out with a hamstring. LaShawn McCoy's out with an ankle. Fournette was doubtful. He's playing, but limited. And OJ Howard's out for the season. So, I mean, Brady came to Tampa Bay with being in love with all the weapons, and there's so many guys that he just hasn't had a full healthy squad yet this year. So hopefully they get a little bit healthier and he can actually have a full lineup going in. But I think this game is probably going to continue to be more of like a ground and pound thing with Ronald Jones, and then maybe this is the week Gronk gets involved. I mean, by default, everybody else is getting hurt. So waiting to see that. My prediction before the game started was a 27-17 Tampa Bay win. They're up 13-0, so they are looking pretty good so far, and I think we'll be fine.
Right on. All right. Thanks, Jack, for that. We are going to be moving on to our NFL Pick'em last week. Jack, he is 3-1 right now. He is crushing me. He had the pick correct with the Los Angeles Rams over the Giants. That score was 17-9. And I was wrong again with Dallas losing to Cleveland. I am now 0-4. Jack, this is pretty rough. I believe you think that I am just cursing whoever he picks. So we'll see what happens. Jack, why don't you just tell me your pick right now?
My pick is going to be the Dallas Cowboys this week over the Giants. Dallas is better than 1-3. 2 of their games they lost by 3 or less points, and 3 of them have all been within 1 score. So with their offense being one of the best in the league and the Giants not being able to do anything offensively, I don't think there's any way they'll keep up. So Dallas locked and loaded.
I would agree. I think Dallas would be able to have a rebound or bounce back week. My pick this week is Seattle over Minnesota. I picked them for 2 reasons. Number 1, you think my picks are cursed. You think my picks are cursed, so maybe this will work out. If I lose, that's great. That means the Minnesota Vikings won. If I win, that means I finally get on the board. So Seattle has the number 1 quarterback in fantasy right now. If he's not number 1, he's he's got to be number 2. He's definitely in the MVP. Russell Wilson is definitely in the MVP running. He's got amazing wideouts in David Moore. He's also got Tyler Lockett. He's got DK Metcalf. And then he's got Chris Carson as well. So their offense is just rolling. The biggest thing is the Seattle defense. If Minnesota can take advantage of exploiting the Seattle defense, I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. But we will see. So my pick is Seattle over Minnesota, and we are going to see what happens. So we're going to be moving on to our fantasy outlook segment of the podcast. We're going to be starting it off with injury prone, and like Jack mentioned earlier, from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Godwin's out, LaShawn McCoy's out, Fournette is out, OJ Howard is out. Moving on to other teams, Cam Newton's on the COVID list still. Nick Chubb went to IR with his knee injury. Austin Eckler is on the IR with a hamstring injury. Julio's got a hamstring. So does Noah Fant. So those are some of the players to look out for. Most likely, none of those players will be playing this weekend, but nonetheless, make sure you check out your lineups before you put those players in. Moving on, we've got Jack's Tater Tot Hot Take of the Week. Jack, what happened last week?
Yeah, let's see. We'll run through them. The first one was me guessing after a meh kind of last couple of weeks, Lamar Jackson comes out and dominates this week with a top 5 quarterback week and a top 20 running back week, which just basically meant I thought he was going to get a lot of it done with a rushing game. So I was correct on that. Lamar was tied for the QB5, so just barely made it, and then hit 11.3 rushing points with a touchdown, luckily, which was good enough for running back 17. So dead on the money with both of those there. Number 2, I guessed David Montgomery, who was going up against the Colts defense, which has been lights out this year. I expected him to get more involved with the passing game, matching his season high catches and being a top 15 running back. I was wrong mostly. He had 7.5 points, so not running back 15, not very close, but he tied his season high catches, which, So wrong there. And then my last bold one, after averaging 3.9 points a game all season, this is the week that AJ Green goes boom with 80 yards and a touchdown. That was incorrect, and we'll just move on from that one. Not even close.
Can I do the celebrity shot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right on. Josh predicted on our podcast last week, actually on Saturday morning, that Tanyan would have 50-plus yards and a touchdown by the first half. I'm not sure if he got the 50 yards and the touchdown by first half, but overall, Tanyan had 98 yards receiving and 3 tutters. Josh, what a pick. I'm probably going to have you on this podcast more often since you can probably provide more accurate information than I ever could. So we'll just keep an open line of communication there. Jack, what do you got cooking up for us this week on your Tater Tot Hot Take of the Week? We need to drop that, by the way.
Yes. This week I have 3. My first one is a little bit selfish, but going back to the trade that I made with the aforementioned birthday bro / person who doesn't listen to our pod. Le'Veon Bell, I'm predicting that he returns this week and outscores Emmanuel Sanders straight up. For context, why this is a little bit bold, Bell is actually currently still on the IR and hasn't been taken off yet, so there's no guarantees. He has limited practice right now, so they're hoping. Meanwhile, there's also not a guarantee that Michael Thomas comes back this week, so if he's out, Sanders is still going to have more looks. I'm banking, hopefully, that Michael Thomas is back, and either way, Sanders hasn't done a lot without him, so my only fear is that if Bell does return, which he should, do they limit him? Do they, make him get hit a little bit less and just kind of see how he does? And also Sam Darnold's out this week, so there's not going to be a lot of opportunities, but I think this week will at least prove that Bell is going to be a better option the rest of the year from that trade.
Who is replacing Sam Darnold?
Joe
That's
Flacco.
all we need to know. That's fine. That's all we need to know. Nobody cares. All right, moving on. What's your next Tater Tot Hot Take?
Yeah, gross. Number 2, Austin Eckler is out this week. He's going to probably be out for several weeks with the hamstring issues. So Joshua Kelly has kind of been the 1B to his 1A punch so far. So a lot of people are thinking this is Joshua Kelly moving up now. But I am predicting that Justin Jackson, not Joshua Kelly, is the one that's going to shine this week. Jackson's been great when he plays. I think he had like a 6.9 yards per carry in college. He's had 0 fumbles in his NFL career, while Kelly's fumbled back-to-back weeks just this year alone. And I think Jackson's a better pass catcher in that offense, so he can kind of fill the Eckler role more. So I picked him up for a little cheap on the budgets that we'll get into later, but expecting he's going to do some good stuff this week.
All right, real quick before we move on, can you give me a number, a running back number that you predict that Justin Jackson will top this week? What running back number do you have? Let's throw out a number. Do you think he's top 24?
If you want me to be bold, I will say he's top. What?
RB2. Do you think he's an RB2, top 24?
Again? Yeah, I think he'll be top 20 for sure. I think whoever gets the carries in that offense is going to be like top 15 to 20.
Okay. All right. Right on. I like that. All right. Moving on to your last point.
Number 3, probably isn't seen as super bold, but just basing it off of how the season's gone for guys so far, I'm guessing that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie darling in the first-round pick, has a dominant top 10 week after 3 straight weeks of 64 yards or less rushing, which is surprising. I'm guessing this week he's probably going to have more like 100 total yards and like 2 scores. He hasn't even been an RB1 currently through the year. He'd be like RB14, so not where most people would have drafted him. But the scoring opportunity hasn't really been there in a high-scoring Chiefs offense, so I think that can change on a dime. He's done really well with the touches he's had and all his missing touchdowns. So if he gets 1 or 2, he's instantly in the top 10 to me.
Okay, so if he gets in the end zone, he's going to be a top 10 rusher this week. Is that what you're saying?
I think he's going to be a top 10 period, but yeah, that's based on me thinking he scores behind me.
All right, right on. That's Tater Tot Hot Take. We're going to be moving on to swimming upstream. Jack, what is going on this week with swimming upstream?
Oh, swimming upstream, I am so happy about this week. I looked when we were up at the bachelor party because I knew you guys were going to be talking about it, and I was like, ooh, I wonder like what they're going to say or if they're going to have their own thing. And I saw Jared Goff was still in there, but I believe Jordan picked him up on like Thursday or Friday. So I was like, oh shoot, I want to cheat and have somebody that's actually picked up. So I went to look and saw that Foster had dropped my boy Tom Brady on Thursday night. So I was like, all right, I'll roll with Tom. Like, I mean, he shouldn't be on the waivers. He should at least be owned. So I switched it like a day before last minute, which I went and checked the notes from last week to make sure that it was in there, that I didn't just sub somebody else in, and I did. So thank God for me. Brady outscored Goff by 21 points this week, so it worked out a lot in my favor there. Brady got 32.5 points, was the QB2 overall, and brought my season total points to 92.75, which in a 4-week average is over 23 points, up from I think 20.1 was my average last week. So this amount would be good enough for QB7 on the entire season in total points, just like based on the 4 guys I've streamed alone. That was up from QB9 last week, and it's only 10 points total behind QB6. So I'm 10 points away from having a top 6 quarterback from only guys that aren't even owned. Currently, they're the 8 quarterbacks that are rostered in our league, and just goes to show you can survive if you stream. I've gotten really lucky so far, but it's working out well.
Okay, who are you picking up this week?
This week, there's not a lot of great matchups. I think a lot of people have some rough teams going. Tannehill got the entire COVID situation with the Titans, and he's against the Bills defense. Wentz is against Pittsburgh. Fitzmagic is against San Francisco. So I was just kind of looking at Wentz. So because of that, I'm going to roll the dice and pick Captain Kirk Cousins himself from Minnesota against Seattle, just because I think they're going to put so many points he's going to have to throw. And then if you take out his stinker of a week against Indianapolis, he's actually averaged 18 points per game the other 3 weeks. So I think that combined with getting Justin Jefferson more into the fold, and then honestly, Cook's had 20-plus points every single week. So if you just take a couple of his touchdowns out, I think he's got 6 on the year in 4 games. I mean, that production goes to the passing offense. I think Kirk's in a better situation. So I'm not going to play lights out and get 32 per 80, but I think he'll be good enough to get 18 to 20.
Right on. Cool. And that was swimming upstream, and we're going to be moving on to purchase or pass. Last week, Devontae Parker was proposed as a top 20 wide receiver versus Seattle. Jack purchased it. Josh and I both passed on it, and Josh and I were both right. We didn't do the Derrick Henry because of COVID-19. The next one that was put up was Burrow and Watson both get their first win while looking like quarterback ones. Josh passed it. And
Josh was right. Yeah.
Josh was the one that was the correct one. Was that?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I must have got the notes backwards.
Burrow got his first win, but Watson didn't win.
Okay. Oh, and I see here that when we go back to the Devontae Parker one, the correct answer was pass. He did not make top 20 on the wide receiver, even though Josh, that was correct. So Josh and I were right on that one. You were wrong on that one. So I just want to make sure we got that one right. And just to make sure, for the Burrow one, Burrow, he got his first win. Watson did not, even though Watson had a great fantasy day with 20 plus points. But Joe Burrow was overshadowed by Joe Mixon. So Jack and I both purchased it. Josh passed it, and Josh was correct on that. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. And then with Trevor's voicemail, Jared Goff is a starter the rest of the season, and Vikings win 4+ games. I believe I purchased Jared Goff and passed on the Vikings, and we will talk about that here in just a minute. Actually, we'll talk about it right now. Do you think the Vikings are going to win 4+ seasons? Are you gonna do the let's do the purchase or pass right now? Are you still going with purchase or pass? Vikings win 4+ games this year.
I do. I heard you say that when I was watching it live, and I was like, ooh, immediately hit the button. That's one I disagree with. They haven't looked great, but I would definitely go against you on the 4 games or more.
Okay. All right. I'm still gonna pass on the 4 wins. It's
You want to put it on the board, or
we'll talk about that in just a little bit.
okay? Okay.
Jared Goff, I don't think we have to discuss it. I don't think he had a really great week last week, did he? I mean, do you have those numbers?
11 points, so no.
Yeah, no, that wasn't very good. So that was stupid. I can't believe I purchased it. We'll see going forward. I think his matchup this week is a lot more favorable. We'll see though. All right, so moving on. This week, Jack, we let's see here. Of the 5 undefeated teams left, at least 2 of them lose this weekend. What are the 5 teams that are undefeated, Jack? If you would please roll those out for us real quick.
Yes. So we have the Seahawks playing the Vikings, as we know. The Chiefs are 4-0 playing the Raiders. The Steelers are 3-0 playing the Eagles. And the
Bills.
Bills and Titans are playing each other 4-0 and 3-0.
All right, so we know one of them. If all teams play this weekend, that's still up in the air. One of the teams is definitely going to lose between the Titans and the Bills. Are you purchasing or passing on 2 teams losing this weekend?
That's the thing. I wanted to make it interesting because I know it's basically a given for one of them. But the problem for me is I just don't see any of the other 3 having a difficult time. I mean, we mentioned the Seahawks are probably do anything they want to us on offense. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they're playing the Raiders. It looked good, but I don't see them getting dethroned. And the Steelers with a lockdown defense are playing the Eagles. So I'm pass. I'm saying it's only going to be 1 from whatever game is Titans and Bills.
Hey, Jack, can I just have you disable your video for right now, and then I'll just have you repeat that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, that is better now.
Okay, so I just basically, long story short, too lazy didn't read, said that I am passing it because I know one of the teams is going to lose the Titans and Bills game, but I just don't see the Chiefs getting dethroned by the Raiders. Seahawks will do whatever they want to the Vikings on offense, and the Steelers defense is playing the beaten up Eagles. So I think it's just going to be the one, and I am passing.
Okay, and I'm going to purchase that. I believe that there will be 2 teams just for difference. All right. In primetime matchups for running backs, Mike Davis outscores Todd Gurley in head-to-head this week. Jack, are you going to purchase or are you going to pass that?
I am going to purchase it. I think the Falcons are going to throw a little bit more, and I think Mike Davis has just fit in really well for what the Panthers are doing right now.
I'm going to purchase that one as well. I believe Mike Davis is just going to crush like he has been doing. And now we have a voicemail from our lovely listener.
Oi! The name's Corey. Corey Treverson. My dumb cousin Trevor was in the shower. I saw a text message on his phone asking for a voicemail. So I decided I'd play a little prank and I'd do it instead. Purchase a pass this week. We're gonna go with, can Teddy Two Gloves continue the embarrassment of the Atlanta Falcons? 0-4 versus 2-2. Divisional matchup. What do you think? Purchase a pass the Carolina Panthers this week. Let me know. Boy.
All right. So we got Trevor's cousin. Thank you very much, Corey. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to call the podcast and leave us a wonderful, wonderful voicemail. Jack, what do you see between Carolina and Atlanta? Do you think that Teddy Two Gloves is going to be able to put his team on his back and embarrass the Atlanta Falcons? Purchase or pass?
This is tough because I think Teddy's gonna have a great game. I actually was hoping to pick him as my stream option until somebody else picked him up, but I think the Falcons are gonna win this game. So I don't know what you would call that. I think Teddy's gonna put the team on his back, but the Falcons will finally get a win.
I think Atlanta goes 0-5.
Okay, fair enough. I think Teddy will be great, but it's not going to be enough. So I guess I would pass by that.
Not only will they go 0-5, Dan Quinn will be fired after. He will be the
interesting.
He will be the next head to.
I'll have been close.
All right, so that will be purchase or pass, ladies and gentlemen. We
really
are going to
quick
be
on that note.
What's that?
On that note, if you're that confident in Teddy, do you think he outscores Matt Ryan this week?
You have two terrible. Oh gosh.
Matt Ryan's still been good for the last couple of clunker weeks. He's still been good.
No, I think what's going to happen is Carolina's defense is somehow going to make a play, and it's going to. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a shootout, but it's going to be a close game. Fantasy wise, my gut says no, but thinking about last week and how Matt Ryan underperformed last week.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think Matt Ryan
really
has
hurt my fantasy team.
Week. I think Matt Ryan has a bounce back week. I think he will.
I do too.
I think he'll score more points than what Teddy would.
I was hoping I'd catch you with that one, but I do too. I agree.
Not so fast. All right, we're going to be moving on to the water bet board. All right, so you proposed earlier that Vikings 4+ games winning. I say no. You say yes. You want to bet it. I say let's do it. Put it on the board.
Ooh, you can put it on the board.
Yeah, I'll get that drop. I want to have a small on-air production meeting. And this is not planned. This is something that I've been thinking about today when I had nothing else to do. Just keep your video on for now, and if it seems to be good, then I'll bring you back in.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a spreadsheet of all of our water bets that we are doing, or keeping track of notes somehow, some way? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm keeping track of notes. We haven't done a lot of them, but as far as what we have done, I've got them running still.
I want to propose the water bet or the water bet board challenge. We can workshop the name, whatever you want to call it. We will have at least one water bet each week, and we will tally it up. And now, I don't want to spin the wheel of water a million times. I'm sure you don't want to spin the wheel of water a million times. So let's make it a game where we have a water bet challenge every week, maybe two, whatever we want to do. At the end of the year, at the end of the season, when everything's all said and done, we tally up who won each of the water bets. Okay. And then the loser of the water bet challenge will be forced to, at any point that the winner states he has, let's say, 3 days after receiving the text message or whatever, he has to, and we can workshop the number. All these numbers are workshoppable. I was thinking like 5 or maybe 7 different water bets that he has to record. He has to record them spinning the wheel of water, showing the world what wheel water is, and then having that water dumped on him. And we will upload it here to our YouTube channel. And that will be throughout the off season. So it can be in the wintertime, it can be in the summertime, but it all of the dumps of water have to be completed by next season's podcast start. So my proposal is tally it up at the end of the year. The winner picks when, at almost any time he has within 3 days, to have a video ready to post to our YouTube channel for the dumping of water on one's head. How do you feel about this water bet challenge?
I like it. I'm all for it. It's reminding me of the How I Met Your Mother slap bet with Barney and Marshall. Just coming up whenever.
Okay, perfect. We will workshop numbers. We'll talk about it this week, and we will come back at you guys next week. And since we took up a lot of time with our water bet stuff, let's just hold off on the stuff for water bets, and we can move on to it next week. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, perfect. We are going to be moving on to our Victoria's Secret portion of the podcast. Here we are moving along nicely. In Victoria's Secret news or notes, we have side bets. Again, there are going to be 10 side bets total on the season, $5 each. Last week was the Suck to Suck Award, or the biggest loser, the highest scoring losing team. Goes to yours truly, Ryan Walters. I had the top.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. That was not fun having to go against 3 players that put up 80 points between the 3, which is insane. You just can't recover from that. I was the top 4 scorer overall. I had nearly 120 points. I think it was like 118. I was pretty salty about it, but $5 is $5. I would have much rather had the win, but I guess I'll take the side bet cred. This week, week 5, the Greg Jennings, he put the team on his back. It is the highest overall scoring player, including quarterback. Yes, it's going to be starters. He has to be in your starting lineup to win the side bet.
I just wanted to make sure.
Jack, do you have a guess for this?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of beat the dead horse already, but I'm picking Tyler just because of Russell Wilson. I think chances are it's going to be a quarterback, barring some crazy Joe Mixon-like performance last week. But I think Russell Wilson's going to have a real good game. And with Chris Carson banged up, I think Russell might not have some of the rushing points of all two.
Okay. And my pick as well was also Tyler for pretty much that same exact reason. Russell Wilson's been on fire. He's got 3 targets that he can throw to. Our defense is terrible, and they are just an electric offense. So my pick is also Tyler with Russell Wilson. To note, you just have to select the team. You do not have to select the player that will be highest overall, but most people usually pick quarterbacks because quarterbacks do normally have the highest score during the week. So my guess is going to be Tyler with Russell Wilson. Moving on, we don't have any trades this week. That's amazing, but there are lots of trade talks going on within the league. Please keep up your trade talks. That would be fantastic. I would absolutely love that. Jack, we're bringing you back in here. We're going to see if things keep going. We are going to do this segment right meow, if I can find it here. Do I have it? Let's try that one more time. Say my name. There we go. We got a little bit more volume out of that. This week, Jack, do we have any new team name updates?
No new teams. We're still at 9 out of 12. So week 5, the 3 of you that haven't done it yet are just killing me. You make me sad. The only change was me, which, full disclosure, I did it. So we had something to talk about in this segment. I've just been going off of whoever I pick up on the waivers and trying to come up with one on my own. But I did the pickup of Justin Jackson, so I switched it to, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, I am for real.
All right.
And that concludes Team Name Update.
All right, we're going to be moving on to our noteworthy ad drops. This week, like you just said, Justin Jackson went for $26. Jack also purchased Tom Brady for $22. Ryan Herman picked up Dearness Johnson for $15. I also put in a bid for Dearness Johnson as well, but I did not get him. I spent $15 to pick up my Latavius Murray again, even though he's a backup. I had to drop him last week due to COVID-19 related issues, and now I have to pick him back up. I was kind of salty about that, but that's fine. Foster picked up Scotty Miller for $5, and he also picked up Tim Patrick, which is a Denver wide receiver, for $5. Foster spending all sorts of money this week. Spent $2 on Steven Goskowski. Alex picked up the Cardinals defense for $2, and Ryan Herman picked up Cameron Brate for $0. Jack, do you have any notes or reflections on this list whatsoever?
Just really quick, I apparently decided to spend a lot of money this week and went and spent $48. So I'm down pretty quickly, but I couldn't pass on my favorite player being on waivers. It's a travesty that he's even down there, and he put up 32 points last week and looking great tonight. So I'm pumped I got him in case Matt Ryan's a little shaky. Dearness Johnson, like you said, I think he's going to be a solid pickup. He could be a 1-2 punch with Kareem while Chubb's out. And then my favorite pickup, just for the value alone, is Ryan getting Cameron Brate for $0. Just with the OJ Howard falling down, I think Brate might have some chances, and tight end's a crapshoot that's always terrible this year. So I like that one as a flyer.
All right, right on. We are going to be moving into victory formation. That means that I'm going to be doing this here. I'm going to be pulling this up over here. And I think we are going to be set. And we are going to start with Katie versus Tyler. I will start us off here. All right, Katie. Katie lost a nail biter. 93.22 to Tyler's 95.6. On Katie's side, she had Lamar Jackson, 25 points. Alvin Kamara, 17.9 points. Will Fuller, 16.8 points. And that pretty much wraps it up for her team. Over on Tyler's side, Russell Wilson had 20.9 points. Dalvin Cook had 26.6 points. Chris Carson had 22 points. And that pretty much wraps it up. Tyler having essentially 3 players bring him to the promised land, and then the rest of his team doing nothing else. What else is new? Katie had a solid balance showing, but still surprised that Jonathan Taylor and DJ Moore are not performing as noted. We are going to be moving on to Ben versus Jordan. Jack, what do you got?
Yeah, Ben pretty much almost doubled Jordan's score, 123.2 to 62.4. So brutal for Jordan's team, who looked really good to start 2-0, and now he's suddenly at 2-2, which is kind of scary. Ben's just continuing doing what he does best. Jordan getting 0 points out of Calvin Ridley, not even having a catch, was just brutal. And then having Eckler go down for potentially several weeks is really, really rough for him. He had no chance to win this week anyways, but when your two of your top guys basically give you nothing, it hurts. Ben rolled on with every single player getting double digits, as you guys can see, except for his kicker and Nick Chubb, who probably the only reason he didn't do that is because he got hurt. So I'm kind of worried about Ben's running back depth. I talked, I think, last week about if Jones and Chubb can just do this every single week, he can't really be stopped. But now Chubb being on IR, and his next best options are McKinnon probably, and then Moster's going to be coming back either this week or next. So McKinnon really doesn't have a long shelf life either. So kind of interesting to see what Ben's going to do going forward to fill that gap.
All right, moving on. We have Alex versus Cassie, just because it's up in the pictures. I forgot to name them correctly. So we got Cassie. She had lost to Alex, 86.98 points to 94.42. Alex coming out on top. Alex having Kyler Murray with 23.12. Kareem Hunt having 19.1. Kenny Galladay having 12.2 points. Devin Singletary having a nice showing with 13.7. His defense, 10 points. Over on Cassie's side, there was Dak Prescott with an amazing 37.28 points. Cooper Kupp having 12.7 points. Tyreek Hill, 12.4 points. Alex is playing great defense this year with only a quarter teams breaking 97 plus points against him. That's, he's kind of had a weak schedule, so some people are wondering why he's only 2-2. But whatever, going off for Cassie was Dak as normal. He is having an amazing season. I don't know if people are thinking that he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, but I definitely think that he is going to be a top 3 quarterback. So Cassie, hats off to you and your pick for Dak Prescott. All right, we're going to be moving on, and the next one is going to be Josh versus Jay.
Yeah, number 1 team versus number 12 team. So it went about as we expected, 92.7 to 67.8. Rodgers got Jay 30 points basically, and then the rest of his team does nothing. So same old there. Josh stays alive despite getting the 8th high score this week. Kind of a lower output for him, who's been dominant so far. But this was, I mean, he put up 92.7 points even without Zeke and Hopkins really doing much. So that's, shows his depth, and like he only needs a couple of guys to go off to be just fine. Mandrews, one of his favorites, with another 2 touchdown performance. But while he had a great week this week, I've kind of been surprised that he hasn't been used more this year, like in the passing yardage wise. He's had 2 games with 2 touchdowns each, but he's had, I think, 38 or 40 points total, and 24 of those are just from touchdowns. So great, but not a lot of yardage compared to last year. Also, just a quick thing to point out, Josh, when I was listening to the podcast last week, I can't help but notice that you mentioned you don't listen to the pod because it's a curse, and now you were forced to listen because you were, doing it live. You not only listened but co-hosted it, and you still won. So I feel like the curse is probably over.
Not only won, he crushed. He crushed. I mean, not only did he win, but he crushed. So yeah, curse has got to be over. So definitely. All right, we're gonna be moving on. Keep sliding. Go. We already did Katie versus Tyler, and all right. So then there's me versus Foster. That's not right. Sorry, that's Ryan versus Foster.
Ryan versus Foster.
Ryan versus Foster. That's my bad. Here we go. Ryan versus Foster. Ryan had a disappointing week, scoring 75.6 points to Foster's 123.4. Ryan Fitzpatrick for Foster had 21.3 points. Melvin Gordon had 23.8 points. Adam Thielen had 18.2 points. Terry McLaurin had 11.8 points. George Kittle, 25.1 points. I'm sure Tyler's disappointed that he traded him away. Over on Ryan's side, Joe Burrow had 15 points. Gross. Todd Gurley, nice 18.3 performance. Devontae Parker, 11 points. Tyler Lockett having a disappointing week with 3.9 points, and that pretty much is going to wrap it up for Ryan's team. Foster's team is scary, so let's not mess with them. I have to face him this week. Spoiler, I'm scared, but we'll see what's going to happen. That pretty much is going to wrap it up for Ryan and Foster. Jack, I'm sure your team is the last one against me. So why don't you go first, and we'll talk a little bit about it.
Sure. Honestly, it sucks because you put up a really, really good week. I think you were the 3rd highest scorer, 3rd or 4th, but putting up 152.7 against you, you texted me halfway through the noon games, which is where I got all my points. You were like, well, good game, I guess. So this one was over quickly. I was texting Tyler about it, and he confirmed high score ever for our league, at least recorded, is 155 by Kevin. So I was texting him all Monday night being like, come on, Matt Ryan, just throw a touchdown, please. So I barely missed that by like 2 points, but he said it's one of only 3 teams that have ever scored 150 plus points. So I'm in that elite club, and insane that's near the high that anybody's ever had. Mixon and OBJ, both 3 weeks of mediocrity for me, and then just exploded with 33 and 36 points. And then my other 2 receivers still getting 16 and 20 or 21. So my 5 flex guys alone had 9 touchdowns between them. It's just like everything collided and came together at the right time. So it felt really good.
Yeah, it was a tough matchup. We both had a ton of points. It was a high scoring matchup of the week. I had the 4th most points this week. I was really happy with some of my players. Josh Allen having another nice week with 25.5 points. Mike Evans having 18.2 points. Mike Davis coming through with 17.1 points. So my team was doing it well, but not as good as your team. I mean, you had OBJ put up 33.4. DJ Chark coming back having 21.5. Your kicker had 17 points. Let's see here. Who else am I missing? Allen Robinson had 16. Oh, Joe Mixon. Yeah, he had a measly 36 points. So just a tough tough matchup overall. Congratulations, Jack. You should still be scared of me because I still think my team is very, very good. So we're going to be moving on. We have the undefeated club, Josh. Congratulations. You are still undefeated, the only one at 4-0. You play, who do you play this week? Do you play Tyler? No, that's not right, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He plays Tyler.
Yeah.
So
He does play Tyler. It's going to be good.
it's going to be a great matchup, and we're going to preview that here very, very shortly. Good luck this week, Josh, against Tyler. Speaking of records, we are going to be going into our standings. So I'm going to transition right over to this, and you can see our standings up here on the board. We have Josh at 4-0, Tyler and Ben at 3-1. Then there is 6 players. That's Walters, Jack, Foster, Ryan, Jordan, Alex in that order, who are at 2-2. Katie and Cassie are at 1-3. And Jay is 0-4 at the bottom. Jay, get your tennis shoes or your cleats ready. Get your gym shorts ready. You're doing combine drills. I'm pretty sure. I would be amazed if Jay did not have to do combine drills. Just to recap real quick, the top 6 are Josh, Tyler, Ben, Walters, Jack, and Foster. Those 6 are going to the playoffs if the playoffs were to start today, and they don't, so that doesn't really matter, but it's always fun to talk about. All right, we are going to be moving back on to our weekly pick'em or the league, and I'm just going to try and get set up here real quick.
In the meantime, as long as the 2 podcast hosts are still in the top 6, it's a good day.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm happy.
It's way better than us being the bottom 2 last year.
Yeah, last year was rough. I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely tough. So we are ready to move on to our weekly pick'em. As of right now, Ryan is in first place with 21 points, but Cassie and Katie also have 21 points, so they are tied with Ryan. Jack and Jordan both have 20, so right on their heels. Alex and Tyler. Alex has 15, Tyler has 14, and then I am in last place with 11 points. To most people, there is no surprise there whatsoever. That is going to make us roll right into our matchup previews. So let's do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to put that away. And boom! I did do these in order, so we should be able to do that all no problem. So let's get rid of that.
What do you want to do? You running through the check marks and I do a couple of notes, or how? How you feeling?
Yeah, and I don't know why, but my stuff just went away real quick. That's not what I was hoping for. I don't know why it did that. Okay, and we're back. Perfect. Let's just check with graph. All right. All right. Sick. I can actually kind of read this now, so this will be nice. All right. We have Ben versus Katie. Katie is your 14.5 point favorite from ESPN. Am I reading that right? That is right. I can't believe it.
Wow, that's a lot.
And actually, I'm sorry, that is not Ben. That's not Ben. Yeah, it is Ben. Gosh, Jay's name, Jay and Ben are.
I know.
And
you know
names. Why that this is like this? It's because Ben doesn't have Chubb, and did he have Julio?
Yes.
He had Julio. Okay. All right.
No, he has Aaron Jones, who's on a bye.
Oh, and Jones, who's on a bye. Okay. All right. So now
that
that
makes
I'm
more
done,
sense.
Now that I'm done being derailed, I'm just going to start from the top again. So Katie has a 14.5 point advantage from is the favorite from ESPN. She has the advantage at quarterback with Lamar Jackson, the running back 1 and 2 with Alvin Kamara and Jonathan Taylor. She also holds the advantage at flex with David Johnson. Over on Ben's side, Ben has the advantage at wide receiver 1 and 2 with Amari Cooper and DK Metcalf, and the tight end with Dalton Schultz. Jack, what do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, like I just said, it's a brutal week for Ben. I mean, he loses Chubb, and then Aaron Jones is on a bye week, so you lose your top two performers in the same week. I mean, you'll have Jones the rest of the year, but I don't think who's he have Alexander Madison and Jerick McKinnon is his two options, so I don't think that's going to be the same. You're going to have a drop off there, and Katie's team is basically at full strength. Looking at it though, I do really like most of Ben's matchups for each player. Like Metcalf should be great versus Minnesota. Cooper's going against the Giants. Deshaun's against Jacksonville. So I mean, I think all of his guys are going to have good shots, and I think he's going to definitely outperform or outscore what his projection at like 84 is. But I'm curious. He's got AJ Brown on his bench, who's supposed to come back this week. So I'm kind of wondering if he's going to start him over, like maybe bump Jefferson up to your. I don't know. You probably have to replace Jefferson. That doesn't make sense either. Yeah, he's got some good receivers, but rough running backs. Katie on the other side, she did have a problem with tight end because Fant was doubtful and Hawkinson's on bye. But I see that she, keeping with tradition for her team like the start of the year, went and picked up a third tight end again. So she's got Greg Olsen, at least somebody to play. But man, Katie, it's a lot of tight ends. I don't know. I think all five of her running backs and receivers are just going to be solid. I can see all five of them getting 10 plus points easily. I think overall I'm predicting Katie just because Ben's got a rough starting core of running backs. So with Katie starting a tight end now, she should have this in the bag pretty easy.
Right on. All right. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 out of 8 teams picking Katie. Ryan is selecting Katie as
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. All the way.
People who picked Katie were Cassie, Jack, Ryan, Tyler, and myself to win this matchup. Moving on to the next matchup. We have Tyler versus Josh. This is definitely going to be the matchup of the week. We've already stated it. And here is how it's going to shake out as of right now. Josh is the 12.8 point favorite according to ESPN. He has the advantage at running back 1 with Ezekiel Elliott. He has the advantage at wide receiver 1 and 2 with DeAndre Hopkins and Deontay Johnson. He holds the advantage at tight end with Mark Andrews and the flex with Ronald Jones. Over on Tyler's side, he has the advantage at quarterback with Russell Wilson. He has the running back 2 advantage with Chris Carson. And that will do it for the preview of Tyler's matchup. Jack, what do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, like you said, this is my favorite matchup this week too. It's currently the number 1 and the number 2 teams on the leaderboard. So 1 of 2 options. Either Josh finally gets knocked off and gets his loss, or Tyler, who's a team that, in my opinion, should be 4-0. So could be 5-0 after this week. Could end up dropping to 3-2. So yeah, it's somebody's going to get a loss that really is better than, or like they deserve to not lose this week with how good they're both playing. It's also funny too. I think I was talking to somebody about this, but I feel like most weeks or most years we've had seasons, Tyler wins a lot of games that he's not supposed to. Like he had one year, either a year or two ago, that he beat Ryan with like a 60-point score. So it's just like Tyler gets some of these lucky wins. But then this year he's just getting screwed. Like he should be the top team, I feel like, right now, but he's just played really, really tough teams as well. So kind of flipping the script on him a little bit. He's just had a tough schedule. Overall, I think their teams are pretty equal across the board. Like they match up well position by position. Both their QBs and running back 1s are phenomenal. While their wide receiver 2s, Deebo Samuel and Deontay Johnson, feel like kind of the wild card X factors to me. So those would be the 2 to watch. If either of them can kind of have a lights out game, I think that'll swing it for them. Looking up just kind of overall though, I feel like I like Josh's wide receiver 1, his tight end, and his flex more. So my heart says Tyler because I think his team is good enough to be undefeated through this point, but I think my head says Josh, so I'm going to pick Josh this week.
Right on. I am going to be picking Tyler this week in this matchup. Josh, you are getting your first loss, and that is going to be at the hand of Tyler. Other members around the league, Alex picked Josh, Jack picked Josh, Jordan picked Josh, Katie and Ryan and Tyler also picked Josh. Also to note that with this matchup, Jack picked Tyler, Jordan picked Tyler, and I also picked Tyler to be the side bet winner. Tyler picked Josh with Patrick Mahomes to be the side bet winner in this matchup. And we are going to be moving on here pretty quick. Just going to do that and that. Come on. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. All right.
Show me potato salad.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Cool. What? No. Okay. All right. So moving on, we are going to have Jordan versus Jay. Gosh, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna get this.
For sure.
I don't know why it's all right. All right, Jordan versus Jay. Here we go. Jordan is the heavy favorite here at 41.3 is a 41.3 point favorite according to ESPN. Jordan holds the advantage in every category except wide receiver, 2, and the defense, but I'm just going to go through it real quick. Jordan has the advantage with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, Miles Sanders at running back, Myles Gaskin at running back, Calvin Ridley at wide receiver 1, Darren Waller at tight end, and Keenan Allen at the flex. Marquise Brown for Jay is the wide receiver 2 where he gets the advantage. I'm not even going to read his defense just because it doesn't matter. Jack, what are you seeing in this matchup here?
Yeah, this could be a gross matchup if Jordan's team doesn't bounce back. This is the 2 teams with scores in the 60s last week, and Jay actually outscored Jordan, which is insane. New week though, so we never know. Both of them have had some brutal losses. Jay, obviously, his entire team has exploded, and Jordan is missing Austin Eckler this week, while Jay has Rodgers on a bye, and then Godwin and Fournette both out, like we mentioned. Waiting to see if Mostert is back. He's questionable, so if he is, that's a huge boost for Jay's team. But otherwise, having to start Rex Burkhead as your running back, and then Emmanuel Sanders, assuming Michael Thomas is back, those are just not guys you want in your lineup right now. Jordan still has a strong core with volume. I feel like a lot of his guys are just going to get touches, whether they're efficient or not. They're getting a lot of looks. So Keenan Allen, tons of targets. Gaskin is the only guy apparently in Miami, and Miles Sanders for Philadelphia is going to just get all the touches too. So with that combined with Calvin Ridley coming back to like the wide receiver 1 range, I don't think he's going to repeat as a 0 catches pretty much ever. So I would be shocked if anybody in the league is not picking Jordan here.
Speaking of which, out of the 8 members that are playing, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who are picking Jordan Walmau, and not only are they picking Jordan Walmau as their as the winner, but they are also
Stone cold lock of the century. Or the week.
The only person not to pick Jordan in this matchup is Jordan himself. Jordan says Jay is going to win this matchup. Also to note, Ryan
said he's never picking himself.
Ryan Herman already picked Katie to be his Stone Cold Lock of the Week, so that has already been stated. So, and also Jordan did not pick because he picked Jay. He did not pick himself to be the Stone Cold Lock of the Week, so that is still coming up. All right, we're going to be moving on to our next matchup. All right, we've got Ryan versus Alex this week. Alex, he is Ryan. Ryan is the 6.5 point favorite as of right now. Alex has the advantage at quarterback with Kyler Murray. Alex also has the advantage at wide receiver 2 with Michael Thomas. Alex also has the advantage at tight end with Evan Ingram and his flex Kareem Hunt. Over on Ryan's side, Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets the nod at running back 1. Todd Gurley gets the nod at running back 2. Tyler Lockett has the advantage at wide receiver 1. So what do you see out of this matchup between Ryan and Alex? Jack?
Yeah, this one's really tough for me to predict because I feel like they're pretty close, similar teams. I think the score is going to be really close by the end of the week. So looking at it, I think Kyler is miles ahead of Joe Burrow this week. Usually I like Burrow, but he's going against Baltimore, and I just don't think that's going to help Ryan out here. Also, Kareem Hunt should be huge for Alex. Now that Chubb's gone, Kareem Hunt's already proved like what he can do even with Chubb. So can't talk. But it's interesting. Ryan picked up and is starting Dearness Johnson. So that dude had 95 rushing yards last week. It could be like the X factor swing if he can pull some points away from Hunt. So if Johnson does any kind of thing this week, Ryan might have a shot here. That being said, Michael Thomas has a chance to come back this week, and that would change Al's team completely. So it's kind of weird that he loses his number one pick Saquon for the entire season, and then yet he gets a different number one pick anyway. So he's still kind of looking like a strong regular team. Assuming Michael Thomas plays, I think that's going to be enough for me actually to pick Alex. So I am saying that'll make up the gap with Ryan's edge, and Alex is my upset pick.
Right on. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who think that Alex are going to win. That'd be Alex, Cassie, Jack, Jordan, Tyler, and myself, who are all picking Alex. Jordan is picking Alex to be his. Come on, mouse. Do not fail me now. There we go.
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. All the way.
Katie and Ryan both picked Ryan to win this week's matchup. All right, moving on. We have my matchup versus Foster. I am the 7.3 favorite. I have the advantage at quarterback with Josh Allen. I also have the advantage at running back with Mike Davis. That is running back 2. And my flex with Stephon Diggs. Over on Foster's side, running back 1 goes to Melvin Gordon. Wide receiver 1 goes to Adam Thielen. Wide receiver 2 goes to Terry McLaurin. And tight end George Kittle gets the nod there. This is going to be a real tight matchup. I'm going to be picking Foster in this one, but I really do feel like it is going to be a meat grinder. I think anybody can win this game. I'm so high on my team right now. I mean, with last week's performance, even though it was a loss, I still think that my team is one of the best in the league. Not necessarily the best, but one of the best. And my weekly scores have been proving it. I can't say enough about my team. I'm nervous though with Foster. Foster has a lot of really great players. Adam Thielen scares me. Terry McLaurin scares me. George Kittle scares me. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to predict myself as the winner in this match. Jack, what do you see?
Yeah, both your teams seem pretty dangerous to me. I mean, Foster, after a rough start, is surging right now with back-to-back wins. And like you said, I really like your team too. I think minus your running back situation, if you can get your running back 1 back, I mean, you're going to be fine. So big implications. This is a huge week for you guys. I think both you need to get to 3-2 badly. Foster can have proven that he's kind of in the top half with 3 wins straight, but on the other hand, you're trying to survive until CMC gets back. So if you can be 3-2 or even 3-3 if you lose the following week and get him back, I think you're set up just fine. So one thing that I thought was interesting, Foster looks like he's playing the matchups alone. He's starting Teddy B against Atlanta, who Teddy B hasn't done great most of the year, but he did have 26 points against Arizona last week. And like we talked about before, Atlanta's got a terrible defense. So if Teddy B does what he should, that could be a huge thing for Foster, but we'll wait and see there. And then the big question mark for your guys' matchup is if the Titans are going to play or not. I mean, if the Titans play, great that you get your quarterback and Stephon Diggs, but he also gets Derrick Henry's lineup. So it's, kind of feels like a wash with like the improvement. That being said, if the Titans don't play, I think you're a lot worse off than he is. So just based on that question mark, I'm picking Foster. But if you guys both knew that you were both at full strength, I think it would be probably a different situation for me.
Things to note, Alex is picking me as the side bet winner. Also to note, Alex, Cassie, Jordan, Katie, Ryan all picked me. That means Jack, myself, and Tyler picked Foster to win this matchup. And I think that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap that one up, and we're going to move over to Jack. Jack, I'm just going to list off the advantages real quick, and then you have the whole floor. Right now, ESPN is predicting that Cassie is going to be the 3.5 point favorite. She earns the nod at quarterback with Dak Prescott, running back 2, James Conner, wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 2, Cooper Kupp, tight end Hunter Henry, and the flex Damian Harris is all going to Cassie. Over on your side, it looks like Josh Jacobs is going to be the advantage position there. Jack, why don't you give me a little preview about your matchup this week?
Cassie, we meet again. Literally played her week 1, and I'm already playing her again. So that's kind of strange. But first round, I won 98-66, but there's no way that that score is going to be the same because Cassie followed up the loss with me with scores of 116, 101, and 88. So she's been much better than that first week, like I said she would be. The wins haven't all come, but I think her team is good enough to put up points. We both surprisingly have fully healthy lineups. I think we're two of the only teams that are not getting bit by the injury bug and or COVID bug. So knocking on wood. But Cassie is my favorite quarterback matchup of the week with Dak going against the Giants, and he's just been on fire. While Matt Ryan's been kind of shaky, so I'm a little nervous there. As far as the other running back matchups, I love James Conner, but I don't love him against Philadelphia because they have a good run defense. And Kenyon Drake's just been kind of disappointing. So that might be my edge there. Mixon and OBJ went off for me last week, but they go against Baltimore and Indianapolis. So I hate most of my matchups for my players this week. So I think they're both going to kind of come back down to earth big time. Then again, that's not even talking about my first round pick, Josh Jacobs. So if he can bounce back and have a good week, I mean, I've got a lot of different players that could all go off any given week. I mean, through 2 weeks, I've had the RB1, like number one overall twice, which is insane. And it's been different guys. So hoping one of my guys goes off to carry it. I mean, Allen Robinson's going tonight. DJ Chark has a good matchup. The only one that's just killing me is Zach Ertz. He doesn't even have Goddard, and he still hasn't done more than 7 freaking points. So overall, I think Cassie's going to get some revenge this week and bounce back. I think her team is better than 1 and 3 as well. And I think my team, while it should still be great, is going to have a rough time with some matchups this week and fall short.
To note, there are 6 people out of 8 in our little game that we are playing that are picking Cassie. That would be Alex, Cassie, Jack,
Ow.
Ryan, Tyler, and myself all picking Cassie to win this matchup. That means Jordan and Katie are both picking you. Also to note that Cassie is picking Dak Prescott, her quarterback, to be the side bet winner this week. Jack, is there anything more about the matchups that we want to talk about?
I think we are all good.
We are all good indeed. So we're going to transition back over to here. And I'm afraid of trying to get these. You here. And you there. And... Cool. So next we've got our Guillotine League. Heck yeah, man.
Yes, we do.
We are 4 weeks through. We've had 4 eliminations. Jack, who is our week 4 elimination?
Very, very sad. On the night of October 5th, 2020, the League of Inzim We Trust lost one of its most sexy members, according to his team name, Hotmail69, aka Benjamin Williams. He's the second of the Victoria's Secret League to fall, which is quite sad. He joins Jay from our home league, as well as Rob Walmau and Skylar. Despite dominating the first 3 weeks, with 2 out of his 3 weeks being 122 plus points or more. So just 1 down week, that's all it takes, and you're out of there. Let's see. Ben's team consisted of Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Tyler Lockett, Mark Ingram, and Julian Edelman, among others, and they all led him to his horrifying death by decapitation. So he will be missed. R.I.P. Ben.
Available players this week, we have Pat Mahomes, which was bought by Kurt for $500. Tyreek Hill went to Al for $312. Tyler Lockett went to Tyler for $204. And you spent $100 on Mark Ingram. Apparently you need a running back.
Badly.
All right, we are going to just talk quickly about the standings in this place. Like we mentioned last week, that anybody can be cut at any time, so it really doesn't matter. But to give you perspective on how things are going in our Guillotine League, Josh is still in first place with 599.5 points. That's a weird half point. I didn't realize we were doing half points, but whatever. Alex is in second with 545 points. Tyler is in third with 525. Jordan is in fourth place with 481. I'm in fifth place with 469 points. Jack, you're in 7th with 446, and Foster's in 10th place with 403 fantasy points. But like we said, anybody can get chopped at any time. And actually, Josh, he was kind of close last week. I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, is it gonna happen? It didn't happen, but so it can happen to anybody at any time. We're gonna be moving on to our Dynasty League. Jack, what happened into the Deflate These Balls Dynasty League this week?
Yeah, just being selfish because I like talking about myself. I made it to 3-1, so let's go. Took down, I don't know who it is, but Falk 03,
That's
119 to
Andrew Falk.
92. So Joe Mixon carrying me in that league as well. I'm just all in on him this year. Him, Diggs, Ronald Jones had solid games. Wentz had 21.5, which is his best game so far. And I picked up the Eagles D as a spot start to fill in for the Steelers, who I have. And the Eagles D got me 19. I just picked up Dearness Johnson too. We talked about him a little earlier, but he could be interesting the rest of the year for me to play him, or just in general. I'm probably not going to start him this week, and because I have Lev Bell and Ronald Jones, and I also have Joe Mixon, so those three are probably going to roll for me. But this week I play another team who's 3-1, team Jay Johnson, and this one's a pretty close split. He has Russell Wilson, Dalvin Cook, and DJ Chark, so I'm a little worried. So I'll probably be back down to 3-2, but pumped that I'm up there in the lead so far for the year.
Yeah, you're doing really great in the league. This, for me, I got win number 2 last week, and it was against Alex. Alex had a big game from Rodgers. I'm sorry, I had Rodgers. I read my notes wrong.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Amari Cooper, and Mike Evans and Mark Andrews all had huge weeks for me, which was able to propel me over Alex. Fun fact, I am 2-0 against Alex this season across all of our fantasy leagues. Also, this is the second win out of 2 weeks that I've had against Alex. I played him last week in Victoria's Secret, crushed him. I played him in Deflate These Balls this week, crushed him. That's 2 crushes right in a row. Suck it, Alex. This week I'm playing Tyler though, so I'm shaking in my boots a little bit. He's somehow he's 2-2, but he's got Dak, Zeke, James Conner, Michael Thomas, and OBJ and Melvin Gordon. I don't understand how he's 0-2. Maybe because Michael Thomas has been out and OBJ has been most of the year. He had that blow up week last week, but I am very, very scared against Tyler. I'm guessing that he's just gonna come in and absolutely crush me. Jack, that pretty much wraps it up, man. Is there any last things that you'd like to say before we start wrapping things up?
Just keeping up on Thursday Night Football update. We got the Buccaneers 16-14 right now in the third, so I will be watching that the second we're done with this with my boy Tom Brady and his jersey on here. And then to watch before next week's podcast. I don't know if you're a big NBA fan, but Game 5 of the NBA Finals is tomorrow night. No, just me. Okay.
Hold on. What are you going to be watching?
The NBA Finals.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
No.
I see.
I'm sorry. I'm not an NBA guy. I never have been. I think it has to do with the Wolves actually being probably the worst professional franchise, American franchise in all of forever. They're terrible. Terrible.
Fair enough.
All right. I'm just going to do this here real quick. All right. We are in our final countdown here of the show. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Jack, thank you very much. You did amazing work this week. Your notes were impeccable. I loved them. Thank you all to the fans. I mean, check us out on anchor.fm. Again, I did not hit record on this podcast, so I'm going to have to take the YouTube audio and put it on there. That'll be up there along with last week's episode. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe, share it with everybody. Jack, what do you got to say, man?
Happy to be back. Excited to bring you guys more stuff next week and go watch Brady win the game here.
Right on. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming out, and we will catch you again next week here, Thursday night, right before Thursday Night Football. Good night, everybody.
Good night.